Alice, and today I will talk about my capstone project, where I investigate the relationship between preferred substrate availability and the density of two sea cucumber species on Oahu shallow reefs. So what makes sea cucumbers so interesting? So deposit-feeding sea cucumbers are known to play multiple important ecological roles on coral reefs, but unfortunately overexploitation is of concern. And also, the functional role of different sea cucumbers vary depending on what substrate they feed on and also with local habitat they feed in. So understanding factors that drive density patterns of sea cucumbers is of importance to ecosystem-based management, so it is likely that the ecological consequences of removing sea cucumbers vary from one habitat to another. So microhabitat specialization has been suggested to be a main driver of sea cucumber density on tropical shallow reefs. Interestingly, the two species we have here in Hawaii that are relatively common seem to be wildly separated in microhabitat preference. So for example, Actinopyga murciana is generally found on hard substrates in areas of strong research, while Holothurian atra generally seem to prefer soft sediments in calm areas that favor accumulation of organic matter. However, the relative importance of factors that shape the microhabitat is unclear, and also something as simple as preferred substrate type and its effect on density has never been studied. So my question was, to what extent does availability of preferred substrate explain variation in density across shallow reef sites of Oahu? So Oahu provides a unique opportunity to study sea cucumber populations in the field, as sea cucumber fisheries have been banned since 2016. So in total, 9 study sites were surveyed, 4 on the windward side and 5 on the leeward shore. So I measured 3 variables: substrate preference, density, and relative substrate cover at the site. And I did this by doing 5 belt transects at each site, with a line transect in the middle. So the line transect, I measured relative substrate cover, and I looked for sea cucumbers 2 meters on each side, and I note their substrate preference based on the substrate they were on, as you can see on the pictures below. So what did I find? So a total of 28 Actinopyga murciana individuals and 63 Holothurian atra individuals were sampled across the 9 survey sites. And as you can see here on the right hand side of the graph, B and D, is the range of measured species densities for the 5 replicate transects at the windward sites, the top, and the leeward sites, the bottom. And as you can see, there was some variability in measured species densities, but a cross-Galvalis test indicated that the density of the two species differed between sites. And on the left-hand side here, A and C, you can see the relative substrate composition of the different sites. So on the y-axis now we have percent cover of different substrate types. And as you can see, it also appeared to vary among all sites, but also between the leeward and the windward shore. So interestingly, both species showed preference for substrate type. So Actinopyga murciana, as you can see in the graph A, preferred vertical and horizontal types of pavement, while Holothurian atra preferred 2 types of rubble. And basically what the graphs are showing you here is the electivity index, and it's a measure of the utilization of a substrate based on its availability in the environment. So it ranges from 1 to -1. So 1 is considered highly preferred, and -1 is considered avoided. So what now about the relationship between density and availability of preferred substrate? So here you can see 3 different scatter plots, where each scatter represents a site. And on the y-axis you have the mean density of Actinopyga murciana, where they have the mean relative cover of the 3 different preferred substrate types on the x-axis. And as you can see, there was a very strong relationship between Actinopyga murciana density and relative cover of vertical turfeous algae cover pavement, while the other 2 preferred substrate types did not show as strong relationships but still indicated a positive increase. So the multiple regression analysis indicated that there was a strong relationship between availability of preferred substrates and Actinopyga marchiana density. So moving on to Holothurian atra. So as you can see, there also seemed to be a linear relationship, or an increasing relationship, let's say, with density and availability of preferred substrate, at least for bare rubble. However, the relationship in the multiple regressions seemed to be not as strong for Holothurian atra as it was for Actinopyga marchiana. So what does all of this mean? So results from the present study suggest that substrate type is an important component of the sea cucumber microhabitat, but it also reflects that it might be more important for Actinopyga marchiana than Holothurian atra. Furthermore, in Actinopyga marchiana's case, the results indicated that topographic complexity might be an important component of the habitat, since the species preferred vertical and horizontal surfaces of pavement. And also flow, that previously has been suggested to be a primary driver of Actinopyga marchiana density, might just come along with the preferred pavement. And also both species show the patchy distribution, which is common for sea cucumbers and also other marine species. But in this case, it might reflect a patchy distribution of the preferred substrates. So the conclusion of my study is that availability of preferred substrate is an important predictor of sea cucumber density on Oahu shallow reefs. This might also imply that high density assemblages of the two species I studied, but potentially also others, may occur in a variety of local habitats, as long as their preferred substrates are there. This might be important for ecosystem-based management elsewhere, since the ecological consequence of removing sea cucumbers may vary from one habitat to another, but also depending on what substrate the sea cucumber prefer to feed on.